What is going on, guys? So again, this is the video of how I'm going to be talking about the total cost of Tulum and how much it actually cost me, because it did not cost me what everyone thinks it cost me, because I might be stupid with money, at least that's what people think, but I'm kind of really not. But, so we're going to start off from the start to beginning, and again, you guys can put this in 2x because that'll just speed it up. And fair warning, I'm like dying right now because I guess not sleeping for almost 3 days and just drinking is not the best way to deal with your body. So let's get started. I'll be starting from start to finish, from flight basically to final flight, as well as reimbursement costs. So the original flight, if you guys don't know, I spend a decent amount per month just on houses and all that stuff, and I usually do charge it to my credit card. I also have every month around $30,000 to $40,000 just in inventory costs, and I always use the same card, right? So I use the Amex Platinum, and basically what that card gives me is 1.5% cash back, or in another theory, for every single dollar I spend, I can get up to 2 Delta miles, which means every month I can theoretically get up to 8,000 Delta miles, which is a decent amount. Basically a flight to Paris would cost me 80,000. So every month I could go there for completely free, first class, no issues. So that's basically, flight good, right? So that's kind of not a no-brainer for me. I don't see why I would use something else. So, second thing is, again, you guys can tell I'm dying. But how am I out of breath? The second thing is the Airbnb. So the Airbnb basically for 3 days, because even though I got there late on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So the Airbnb cost a total of $303. So we'll just say $300. Then the next thing that we have is obviously food, drinks, crap ton of drinks, and then yeah. So Tulum is very cheap, right? The only downside is from Cancun, you fly into Cancun, and then you basically have about an hour and a half drive to Tulum. So if you book ahead of time, you're looking at $50 there and back. So it's really not that bad. However, if you book there, you have to pay about $150 just one way. I did not realize this the first time I went in February, so this time, again, I kind of knew. So that's $50 right there. So that's basically $350 that we have now in total spend, which again for 3 days is still decently a good chunk of change. And then from that point on, we keep going. So food in Tulum. Tulum is not really as like Cancun, where it's not really that civilized yet in a sense, right? It's not like they're big hotels, big houses, and all of that stuff. Especially if you stay in downtown Tulum, which I actually kind of prefer because it's a quick 20-minute bike ride to the beach, or I can freaking take a taxi, whatever. But yeah, the food there is a lot cheaper. I also just like walking around there at night. They have some really good bars. So again, the food, not expensive. I literally ate the first day carpaccio, pizza, tiramisu, then grilled chicken, then fries, and a couple beers, and all that. That entire meal cost me right under $20. And that's kind of really nice for me, considering each month I'm spending a couple of thousands of dollars every month for just the amount of food I consume. New York is terrible. I spend around $6,000 a month on food in New York. So, yeah. But that's the second thing, right? So, sub $20. Then breakfast was literally, for 2 people, it cost $12. And it was a decently sized breakfast. So first day it was already done, right? It was legit just dinner and drinks, sub $20. So now I'm at $370. Then breakfast for 2 people, right? $12. So $6 each. So let's just say $375. Round up to $380, whatever. And you don't really have to tip much. It's literally because the tip's always included in the bill, which is super nice. But yeah, so we are now at $380. Then, obviously, on Saturday, I was at Bagatelle Tulum the entire time, which is kind of a beach club. They have them worldwide. I've been to the one in Saint-Tropez. I was there last year in February, and I actually met a super cool group of people, 2 groups actually. So yeah, they ordered a super Bella Ciao special, right? Dancers come out, bottles of Dom, 6 bottles of Dom come out, and they pour it, they spray it, whatever you want. So I'm like, okay, I showed the waiter, and you do have a minimum spend at that club to even get in, and it's 2,300 peso, so it's literally like 120 bucks. So it's not bad, especially if you go with like a big group. So that was basically, again, I'm like, waiter, I want this. He's like, okay. They took me into the champagne room. Manager comes, takes me into the champagne room. He's like, yo, we got these bottles, right? You don't really have a big group. I'm like, yeah, that's true. He's like, doesn't make sense for us to just give you 6 regular sized bottles of Dom. I'm like, fair, I'm not gonna drink them. He's like, so you can have 1 Magnum. I'm like, okay, bet, because also it was cheaper, and I can finish that, right? We could finish it, not really a big deal. I made some friends there, so it was super chill. So basically, that bottle with the show every single time is around with everything, 50 to 60,000 pesos, which is $25 to $3,000. So again, that was Saturday afternoon. So I ordered one of those shows. Then came dinner, right? So the manager, he recognized me from last time. He's like, yo, here's a reservation for dinner if you want to come. I'm like, dude, I'll be here. He's like, let me know, and then we, go to the club later, right? So I'm like, I'm hanging out with the manager now. So then I get to dinner, order food. Food was really good. I got some lamb chops, right? However, it was not really large portions. Then what happens is, and I also bought a bottle of Moët to begin with, because that was before I asked for the show, a couple cigars, yada yada. Then basically dinner, I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Manager comes over, he's like, come here, right? Puts us straight in the middle. And then that point on, I'm like, you know what, dude, yeah, hey, like, I'm gonna invite these 2 people over to our table, because I'm like, you know what, the easiest way to make friends, buy bottles, because everyone remembers a dude that bought bottles, and everything is kind of networking in a sense, especially in a club like that, right? I met this owner, was super dope hat company, talked to him for a bit, and then 2 people from LA, as well as a marketing kind of person from LA as well. So I'm like, bet, invite them over to the table. Again, order another show. This time, instead of Bella Ciao, I'm doing YMCA. So that's the show I'm doing then. And again, sets back another $2,500 because I just got the big bottle of Magnum. Then I bought 2 whole bottles of Don Julio 70, or like Reposado or whatever, 70, whatever it's called, 70 Reposado, whatever. I didn't even really look at the menu. I'm just like, whatever you recommend, I usually do that. So that was about $200 a bottle as well. So then dinner was about 200 bucks, because again, it's you also have a minimum spend. So now we're basically at 3,500 for all of that, as well as the 2,500 from the club the day earlier. So in total, right, I'm at 5,500 plus the 380. I'll come back to that at the end. So then he takes us to the nightclub, which is literally right across the street. Again, it's like another beach club, exclusive. Again, the dude sees I've spent a decent amount of money. He's like, boom, puts us at the table. Straight away take us into the champagne room. I'm like, okay, I have a decently sized group now. You know what, let me get another bottle. So I got another bottle. This time I got not the Magnum, but I actually got one of the Magnums, as well as 2 other smaller bottles of Dom. So the Magnum again was $2,500, as well as each smaller bottle of Dom was $500. So what does that mean? $3,500 right there. So we're at 55 plus 35, and there was no food or anything involved. So that basically brings us to $9,000 total. And then, right, we're not even done with Friday yet, right? Oh yeah, Friday, because I landed Thursday. So now we go into Saturday. Obviously, I woke up at like 2 p.m. because, I was out until like 4-ish. So I wake up, and basically from that point on, I'm like, I bet. So they made a reservation for me at the beach club yesterday, again, to come back for the beach club if I wanted to. I'm like, I really do like that, and I went to Tulum to blow off steam and meet some new people, because last time I literally met some kind of my best friends, right? Celebrating birthday parties. I have to fly to Cabo in February, as well as then in March, end of February, beginning of March, I actually have to go to Brazil for Carnival, because another friend from that trip is throwing a birthday party as well. So again, yeah. So next day, Saturday, super late. I get there at like around 4. Everyone else is already there. I'm like, bet. And I was like, I'm not gonna drink anything. I'm like, maybe just a little bit, but I'm done. So, waiter comes. He's like, dude, we got you. Hey, here's some free water. I'm like, thank you, bro. And he's like, and, all right, everyone, 8 shots, here you go. I'm like, I'm going to die. So, again, took the shot. Then, super good, just vodka, and, complimentary. So, we didn't have a minimum spend this time, any of that. I'm like, you know what, fuck it, again, bigger group of people. We each probably have like 2 big glasses of Dom, so I'm just like, whatever, right? 2 glasses, it's not gonna be that bad. I leave super early in the morning anyway, so fuck it. So I want another show. This time I'm feeling it. I'm like, alright, give me Sexy and I Know It by LMFAO. Boom. Again. And then another thing that happens is this other group, super nice, they did Bella Ciao because they saw, the show. They went to him. They talked to me a little bit about it. Now, also by this point, right, literally the security knew me. The managers, the hostesses, the dancers, right, everyone, like when I was walking in, literally knew me because what kind of idiot buys 3 shows in a day and basically spends like 10 grand. So that was, again, another $2,500. So now we are up to $11,500 plus that $380 from the beginning. So then, it's already late, stayed at the beach club, considering we got there at like 4 until like 7-ish. Then went to dinner, just stayed in the main centrum because, again, I was like decently gone at this point because just constant drinking. I like woke up the next morning, no hangover, but I still thought I was a little bit drunk, just due to the massive amounts of champagne and shots I did that night. And so yeah, that was the second part of that. So we're at 11.5. Now you're wondering how the fuck, like, dude, you're just talking about how much money you spent. Stop bragging. Not the point of this video, because at the end I will be telling you blah, blah, how to not pay for it. So 11.5, went to dinner there, super cheap. Oh, and I did forget the day before, on Saturday, I went to breakfast, which was, or not breakfast, but lunch, and that was basically like $10. So that $390, and then dinner again was about the same thing, $10, so $400. I'm like, oh, thank God, we're done. And then I still had a couple leftovers from lunch, so I just ate that at around 3 in the morning. Because we got back late, walked around a little bit, just blew off more steam. And then, so $400 spent plus 11.5. Then from that point on, basically, taxi showed up 5 a.m. Because my friend's flight back to LA was at like 9, or like 8:30. Was at around 8:30, so left at 5. Then again, already pre-booked, didn't cost. Basically then, got to the airport by like 7, a little bit earlier. My flight didn't leave until 12. Didn't make sense for me to basically last minute order another shuttle for basically $100. I'm like, whatever, they have an Amex lounge there, they have sleeping pods there, they got food, they got drinks there, I can just pass out there. So, that's what I did. Only problem is, by the time we got there, the Amex Lounge wasn't open for another hour. So I just went to Starbucks. Cost like $5-10, I think. So, whatever. So, $410. Then, went there, ate the food, actually had more champagne. And then I just waited for my flight to board. Took a free water, hopped on the plane, and I dipped. So, again, that was the total cost. There's no more cost. Also, the Uber for me to get to the airport and also to get back is free because every month through my Amex cards I get Uber credits, and basically almost every single card in my wallet is, these are the business ones, so 2 business and then 3 regular Amex, and each month I get $10. So every single month I have a $50, actually 20 for the Amex each month, so that's 40 plus another 30 for the others. So basically every month I get $70 in free Uber, Uber Eats, Uber fares, whatever. So total, basically, right, if we want to round up a little bit, $12,000 for basically 3 days, 3 days with the trip from DFW to there. So you're wondering, okay, why don't I have to pay any of that, right? Well, a couple of things. So the marketing person that I met there, again, super nice, They'll be helping me out with an upcoming project that I kind of need their help for, that I will be mentioning to you guys a little bit sooner. They will also be helping me with kind of my Shopify store and the clothes that I, make just because, I don't know, I feel better wearing my own stuff than other people's. I don't know why. I just like it. If I can do it, why not? So that was a great connection. Now you're like, okay, so you basically spent the money and you just made connections. So not true. Because I actually spent the money, yes, as well as I got points back, right? So you're wondering, okay, you spent 13 grand. I did. So I basically got $200 back almost. You're like, okay, that's like nothing at all. That's fair, right? On $13,200 is not much. However, due to literally that meeting and then the meeting with the other person, I can write this entire thing off, right? So every year, just, for estimation purposes, 200, let's just make it easy. I have to pay $250,000 in taxes. No, I don't like doing that because every year I could buy myself a Lamborghini with the taxes I would spend. So every year, the government can buy themselves a Lamborghini. And right now, I'm not going to be political, but the way the government's handling shit, they're stupid. Everyone is stupid. So, yeah, that's kind of my viewpoint on that. So, I'm not going to give those jerk-offs my money that I worked for, and they did nothing. Like, you're telling me Nancy Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions, like $200 million, with a salary of $200,000 a year? Yeah, bullshit, Nancy. Bullshit my ass. So, obviously, I'm not giving those jerk-offs my money. So, off that $250,000, I'm writing $13,000 off. Now, even if you only make basically $100,000, or you're paying 30% plus. So, basically, if you make 70, you can take this trip and not pay anything. So, the average starting salary after college would be around 50 to 70. So, if you wanted to take this trip, you would not be paying anything. Now, there are also more ways to not pay, right? I have a hotel's card, so theoretically, I could have also booked a hotel up to $200 a night, and that wouldn't have cost me anything. So that way, you don't have to go with the tax write-off options. Now, the other thing that I really find 100% worth it, 99%, is that at the end, the owner, not just one of the managers, but the owner of Bagatelle, came up to me, French guy. He's like, hey, I'm one of the owners. I actually wanted, to talk to you. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, you've literally been here the past 2 days. You've been here basically almost 4 times. I'm like, yeah. He's like, and you got in the show. I'm like, correct. He's like, hey, have you ever been to other locations? I'm like, I've been to the Saint-Tropez one. He checks in the system. He's like, yeah, no, that's true. He's like, well, I want to invite you. I'm going to be sending you an email to basically the VIP. So all that basically means is now every single time I go, I don't have a minimum spend limit ever, and they can never take that off my account. So that $13,000 will basically every single time get me no spend limit, which is nice because then I can basically drink water for completely free, which they usually charge, as well as every single time I get 2 shots per person complimentary that I'm with. So if I'm with a group, I can literally have an entire bottle of Don Julio, and for 40 people, we get a free bottle basically. So that's the nice thing, as well as also a lot of discounts and shit, as well as different rooms. So with other people that have a lot more money than my friends, a lot more money than me, all of that, which means more networking positions. I've always been told at a young age, it's not important what you know, it's important who you know. And honestly, that could not be more true, right? The amount of businesses I've bought this year, the amount of friends I have made this year that have actually helped me level up, that have helped me be making purchases I could not have made on my own, right? So it makes it easier. The easiest way I can break this down, let's say you have a $2,000 a month mortgage, obviously, right? So instead of you just paying $2,000 yourself, why would you not split it and now you're each paying $1,000? So that's basically kind of like that, and that's why I think networking is actually very important, and that's why I don't mind spending that amount of money on trips like this, because everyone always remembers the dude that bought the bottles for everyone, even if they don't know them. So that's kind of how I paid no money, in a sense, right? I got a decent amount of stuff for free, flights for free, a decent amount of food for free. Obviously, if you don't order the bottles, that entire trip would cost you if you went with like a friend or, you know, a decent group. You could literally get away with $200 for a weekend if you went with a group of 3 or 4 people. Honestly, yeah. So again, that's kind of the video. And yeah, that's just kind of how I do things, and that's how I kind of get away with being able to blow money on stuff that I actually don't need to pay for. So obviously you have to have the money up front, but by the time April, May comes around, I don't. So that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I am sorry it's a little long. There was kind of a lot to explain. But hope you enjoyed, and if you guys want some free money, there's links down below. It takes like 5 minutes for each link, and you get like $5 to $15. And if you're like, that's not worth it, think about it. Most people work about an hour to make $15, and you can do it in 5 minutes. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. Peace out.